Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Yet another review on a diesel heater that obviously I have not opened up yet. I'm doing this review because they gave me a pretty good discount to give you folks. It's not an affiliate discount or anything, it's just a 30% off discount. It is from Sunster. It is their TB10PRO diesel heater. Right off the bat, it looks all right. It's got Bluetooth, it's got a wireless temperature sensor, it's got a carbon monoxide wireless sensor on that remote as well. So overall, it looks pretty decent, but let's get this thing unboxed and see if it works, as well as some of my other heaters that I have reviewed, because right now I think with all my discounts and everything, you can get this for less than 200 bucks directly from Sunster. So let's get it open and take a look at it. So this is a toolbox style heater that's becoming pretty popular with an internal fuel tank. It comes with an AC power brick, which is nice. I think most diesel heaters are starting to come with these. In the past, I've had to actually use converters because some of the times these will not work on power stations. They're the little cigarette style output on power stations is only 10 amps, and sometimes these take up to 175 watts to get that glow plug going. So this is always kind of like a fail safe. So that's good it has that. Okay, here's the heater. Pretty compact. They claim it's an 8 kilowatt diesel heater. It's probably closer to 5 kilowatts, but that's what they're claiming. You're gonna have, oh, that actually comes with a decent normal 3-inch dryer hose. That's already a good thing. Yay for Sunster. I'm glad they're not that some of the times, guys, getting a 4-inch hose through things is a lot more difficult than these really easy 3-inch dryer hoses that you can pick up at Home Depot or Lowe's. So I'm glad it comes with that. I didn't realize that. This is something different. So this is an exhaust cover. This is like a, and you really don't want to touch a lot of this because it's fiberglass, but this is going to go over your exhaust pipe to protect from heat and not touch, and if you accidentally touch it. But again, you got to be careful with these. I've learned the hard way. It's like little micro splinters that you'll get. But that's the first heater that I've seen that comes with that. Okay. You've got a power adapter to connect directly to a 12 volt or 24 volt power source, like a battery, LiPo 4 battery, hose clamps, muffler. This is going to be an extension cable for the screen right here. So if you want to mount the screen inside and obviously have the diesel heater outside of your RV or camper or cabin or whatever, it comes with, I think, about an 8-foot extension lead for this monitor, and then your standard exhaust duct. That's about it. There's another box here on the side though. Oh, I bet that's just, well, no. Hope it's nothing important because it got kind of smushed. I don't know what this is. Oh, this is the remote. Okay. Instructions for the remote. So this is a wireless remote, and this is going to monitor the temperature wherever you have this remote. And it also is supposed to monitor the carbon monoxide. So this is also a CO2 detector that you can keep with you in your camper or RV, again, wherever you're trying to heat the area. Put this next to your head, hanging up behind your bed or whatever, and it's gonna monitor that as well as keep the temperature regulated. So it'll turn on and off this heater, supposedly, for whatever temp you have this set at. So, looks like it's 3 AAA batteries, which is fairly easy to come by. You've seen all this before. I'm gonna get this heater, everything kind of put together, fill it up with diesel, and fire it up. All right, well, I got the diesel heater put together. These really, there's nothing to them. It's the same for every heater. Really, all I had to do was install the duct, the exhaust duct, which is just held on by a simple hose clamp. And you can tell on this, we've got some feet on the bottom, so that helps elevate up this diesel heater and keep this hose off from touching the ground. Now, of course, you know, I wouldn't run it like this on top of a table, but I do like these heaters that now come with feet and you don't have to put like 2x4s underneath them to elevate them up. This one already comes like that. I did go ahead and put this heat wrap, as you can see, on the exhaust, but overall, I like the looks of this heater. I think it looks nice on the side over here. If I can get that, it does have a window for your fuel gauge to where you can kind of gauge how much fuel you're using. Now, speaking of fuel, balls to the wall, full gas, superheat, you're gonna get claimed 0.44 liters an hour. That's gonna get you, off of a 6-liter tank, 11 to 12 hours, if my math is right, on just kind of average. Now, I would never ever run a heater that hot because these things get too hot on full max mode. On the lowest setting, it's gonna use about 1/6 of a liter. So that's kind of more normal use case scenario. So I think you would definitely get at least 2 nights running off of 6 liters of gas. These things are pretty efficient nowadays, and it doesn't use up a whole lot of diesel unless you are running this thing like crazy, as hot as it'll get, but that's really too hot. Now, one thing that I want to show you is the actual air intake, where it's going to suck in the fresh air for combustion, is down here underneath the bottom. You can see this little foot that's underneath, and I'm going to try to pick this up. I do have diesel in here, but it is right there underneath the bottom. I do have the cover taken off, and it's got just a little foamy piece right here, but it's got a couple of tabs that just snap into place underneath if you want to clean this off. But that just means don't set this down on pure dirt or grass or a bunch of just loose stuff that could get sucked in. Sure that there's nothing underneath it that's going to be able to get sucked in when it's pulling in that fresh air. So keep that in mind when you're figuring out where to actually place this heater outside of your RV or your truck or wherever, is that the fresh air intake is right down here at the bottom. And then over here on this side, this is going to be your hot air exhaust. This is where you're going to connect your lovely 3-inch standard dryer hose right to the front. We're not going to install that here. And then as far as, is this waterproof? I don't think it is. It doesn't say anything in the manual, but there are no gaskets anywhere on this thing, not on the lid. I don't see any type of weatherproof gaskets, even on these little plastic covers that cover up the LCD screen and the remote. There's no gaskets here, so you know, I get that question a lot, is can you leave this thing out in the rainstorm? My answer is I would not. I think a little bit of light dusting of snow is more than fine, but I wouldn't say that this thing is completely waterproof. Now, this thing is metal. This is the first Toolbox style diesel heater that I've had that's actually metal and not all plastic. So I got a magnetic flashlight here that all the way around. This thing's metal all the way around, which is nice because these things get tossed around, dinged up in the back of trucks, going to camp. So I like that it's metal. It's a little bit beefier than some of these plastic toolboxes. So that's pretty cool. On the inside, I can tell you, I can't take the camera in, so you're just gonna have to trust me, but there is a inline fuel filter down there that I can see. So back in the days, we would actually have to install our own fuel filter on some of these diesel heaters. I'd guess most of them actually come with heaters, with filters now anyway, but this one definitely does have a fuel filter. So enough talking. I'm going to show you what this thing does on startup, how many watts it uses. And the other thing I want to talk to you folks about is it comes with, again, this 12-volt cord cable. It did have 2 eyelets to connect directly to batteries. That's the only, I guess, negative, because I don't typically carry a 12-volt battery with me, but I usually carry something like a Jackery with me to camp that's got a cigarette-style output on it. In order to use that output on the power station, I had to cut the eyelets off, and then this is just a pigtail standard cigarette-style 12-volt cable. And I soldered the ends together, put some heat shrink on it, and now I can plug this into my Jackery. This end goes into the side of the diesel heater over here. So you just plug it in. Over there on the side. Now I can actually plug this into my Jackery or Blue Eddy or whatever I have, and you're good to go. So just keep that in mind. You will have to go to Amazon to buy a 12-volt pigtail to do that, but anybody can do it. Super simple, but it doesn't come out of the box ready to use with a power station like this. So let me get this set up. We'll get it cut on and see how it heats up. Let me show y'all how this remote works. It doesn't come out of the box programmed to this heater. So what you got to do, this heater's off. You take out this control panel, it's off. You're going to go to the far right and you're going to press and hold until you get a Bluetooth blinking symbol, which I hope I'll be able to get this on camera. There you go. It's kind of blinking now up there in the top. Once you see the little Bluetooth symbol blinking right there, you come over here to this panel and you press and hold the 2 right buttons for 3 seconds. And it shows add. Then it should show SUC, which is successful. So now this remote is paired to this diesel heater. Well, normally, of course, I wouldn't have it set up with the exhaust pointing into my garage, but I'm trying to let you folks see the screen on this Jackery once I zoom it in. But I'm gonna go ahead and just get it started. And I'm gonna crank it all the way up to the max. And the good thing is you can set this LCD screen to Fahrenheit or Celsius, which I like. So right now, it is just kind of starting. We're at 25 watts. I'm going to zoom you in to watch this as we go. So during the startup procedure, we're getting up to 42 watts directly off of 12 volt. 72. There's no ticking yet. That fuel pump has not started to feed the diesel. And this really is the most important stage of starting a diesel heater, is right at startup, because sometimes this number will get, I've seen on some diesel heaters get to 150, 160, up to 175 watts, which is normally way too much to run off of some of these cigarette style outputs on these power stations. But right now we're sitting at 92 watts. I can hear it starting to tick. We're up to 97 watts. All right, we are at 98 watts now, 97, 98. So we've yet to hit that even 100 watts yet. You can hear the tick, maybe. It's not a loud ticking, but there is a prominent tick. I can hear it. Now we're down to 22 watts. So that's awesome, guys. This thing started, it got those glow plugs warmed up enough in under 100 watts. That's awesome. So literally any power station can start this diesel heater. That is good news, especially this tiny little Jackery 300, smallest one that I carry. But right now we're at 32 watts. So that heater's starting to get warmed up. So that's good news. It'll start up easy with the power station. Well, we've been running for about 5 minutes and I've got my super simple 3-inch hose connected. It feels good. It's not fully up to heat yet, but I can tell there's definitely got 159 degree coming out of that now. Definitely heat coming out of here. And the thing that I don't hear anymore, I hear no ticking. The H calorie that I just reviewed, it doesn't have ticking on mine. I have heard some people say that they didn't have ticking either until about an hour later, after it ran a little bit. So I'm gonna let this thing run an hour at least and see if it starts to tick after an hour. But also, while we have this thing running, and again, I wouldn't recommend doing this in a garage. I'm very well ventilated out here, but it's not the safest thing to do. I'm gonna test this remote to see if I can get it to detect any type of carbon monoxide. So the way to view the carbon monoxide is you press and hold this left button, and it's gonna end up showing you 0.0 parts per million and the ambient temperature down there below. So let's take this. I'm gonna stick this thing right in front of the exhaust. So I'm gonna stick this thing right in front of the exhaust. And it's showing 0.0 parts per million right now. Still showing 0.0. And after 10 seconds, that screen will go away and you'll just get the standard, what mode it's in. So you gotta keep pressing that left button. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm still showing 0.0 parts per million. I've been holding it here for about 2 minutes. I'm not getting any kind of reading on this. So here's my thoughts on this carbon monoxide remote. I don't think it works. I wouldn't trust my life with this remote if it was inside my camper. I would buy a name brand reputable carbon monoxide detector. Yeah, this should have detected a little bit of something being right in front of that exhaust on fresh startup. So I know that's putting out some CO2. I'm gonna turn this whole unit around to at least exhaust outside, and I'm gonna let it run for about an hour, and I'm gonna come back and see if we hear any type of ticking to see if it starts to show up after it's been running. But it started up. It was a breeze to start up. I didn't prime it. I didn't do any of that stuff. So that was easy. I like that it's in Fahrenheit too. That makes it, I don't have to do math when I'm camping. Who wants to do that? So I've had this thing going for about 2 hours and 15 minutes now, and if you can possibly make out, shake it. There's my fuel level, almost to max. So this thing does, I would say it's pretty efficient for just 2 hours of runtime. I am just right below that 100% marker, but it's still going, still putting out heat, definitely out of the exhaust, and for sure out of this 3-inch hose. I do have it on level 5. It's got 9 levels, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 levels set right there. Now that 59 degrees that you see, that is ambient temperature. That is not what's coming out of the actual heater. So on level 5, you can expect to get $124. That is right at the tip. Let me try to get that a little up there. That's pretty, yeah, about 136 degrees right here in the middle. And also, maybe what you might not notice is a tick, okay? There's still no ticking. And again, a little over 2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes probably by now. And there's no tick. I've got the mic right here next to the heater. And so far, I have not heard any ticking other than right at first startup. So this is a quiet heater so far. Yeah, I hear no tick whatsoever coming out of this. But we'll test that out here in the next week or two when I take it out on an actual trip, see if I detect any type of ticking after it's running for 6-7 hours, but no tick so far. All right, so where do I stand on this heater, guys? I like it. To be honest, I like the size of it. It is more compact than my H-Calorie TB2 Max that I just reviewed and that I took with me on my Missouri trip that I used. Works great, but it's a little taller. And again, I've got that 4-inch hose, which that 4-inch hose does not work in my mini camper. I had to do a whole bunch of mods to the outtake to get it to work. Anyway, that's not the point about this video. I like this. I like the simplicity of it. I like using a 3-inch hose. I've said that multiple times, but I like it. This little remote is super easy to use. It's got an up or down, on or off button. It came already programmed with this toolbox. It worked well. I am not a fan of this. I know this is why they're calling this a pro heater. I don't like it. I don't trust the carbon monoxide detector on it, so I would never ever put this in my RV and depend solely on this to detect CO2. If it's creeping in, this might be good. I don't know. I just don't like it, guys. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's great because I didn't like it, and I couldn't get it to detect any CO2, sticking it right in front of the muffler for about 2 minutes before it just got too hot. So I had to move it. I wouldn't buy this heater for this alone. I would buy this heater though for the fact that it is metal. It is well built. It's not heavy. It's not big either, guys. I mean, it's wide. It's 15.5 inches wide. With the feet, it is 10 3/4 inches tall, and it's only 10.5 inches deep, front to back. So it is a small heater with 6 liters of gas or diesel. It's not heavy, and it doesn't feel, you know, some of these toolbox heaters that I've reviewed, when you pick it up, or even the handle, it just felt a little plasticky. This one does not have that feel for it whatsoever. So minus this, I think it's a decent heater. I guarantee you it's not an 8 kilowatt heater, but that's what it's claimed to be. Maybe 5 kilowatts, but that's still way too hot for me and my camper in a rooftop tent. An 8 kilowatt heater would literally cook you out like a turkey. It would just be too much. Now, if you're trying to heat up a huge 36-foot RV or a fifth wheel, that's a different story. But for my applications, I would never need an 8 kilowatt heater. But I digress. This is probably a 5. Other than that, it's a good heater. It worked well. And there's a discount code down below. Now, I got to tell you guys, I don't make any money off of that discount code. It is strictly just a discount code for you to use. It does not provide me any type of kickback whatsoever, but there is a 30% off discount that I'm going to put down below, which brings this particular heater down to below 200 bucks, which I think is a pretty good deal for the build quality of it and the fact that it just works. You know, most of these heaters do, as long as you take care of them. Make sure that when you're shutting it down, you don't just unplug power, you let it go through what's shutdown cycle so it cleans itself and it doesn't gum up and get all sooty inside, but just make sure you do that shutdown procedure properly and you'll be good to go. So yeah, guys, you know, it's a heater. There's 8,000 of these heaters around now. They all heat pretty well, and I do like this one. So anyway, check out the link if you want a discount, if you need a pretty decent little diesel heater. Thanks for watching. See you soon.